This is Justin J. Storm, your Millennial coach, and today we're going to be talking about a subject I'm passionate about, learning styles. Knowing and understanding your learning style will make a significant difference in how you absorb, understand, and process information. Understanding the learning styles of other people will make you an effective and a powerful communicator as a parent, as a teacher, and as an employee or manager in the workplace. So today we're going to be covering 3 different learning styles. We have the visual learner, the auditory learner, and the kinesthetic learner. So let's start with the visual learner. The visual learner best absorbs information through bright colors, charts, workflow processes, and maps. Symbols are really important to visual learners. Having different colored font to represent certain things, bold, unbolded, all of those visual indicators will help the visual learner to understand the information and to understand what it's trying to communicate and help it to be something memorable. Also, if you're ever talking or communicating with a visual learner, using your hands and gesturing will make a big impact on them paying attention, or else their eyes will go elsewhere and they'll be distracted by something else. So those are visual learners. A significant portion of the population is a visual learner. Another big portion of the population is the auditory learner. The auditory learner hears everything, and talking, discussing, recalling, conversing about things, those are key words for the auditory learner. The more that they get to talk about something, the better it helps them to understand the concept. Unlike a visual learner that can use textbooks and have graphics and charts to understand the information, an auditory learner typically needs to be present in a class, lesson, or in a meeting to have that information really sit well with them and to have it be something that they can recall and remember. Oftentimes for an auditory learner, going off into a quiet place where they can recite information, hear them talk about it, for remembering tasks and to-do lists, the recorder function on your phone and recording notes for yourself will be a reinforcement of what needs to get done, and then hearing it again will be something that will be well for the auditory learner. So if those things are resonating with you, or you identify others that tend to lean more towards wanting to discuss things, they're auditory, and you're going to want to be more interactive with those types of individuals. Lastly, we have the kinesthetic learner. Now the kinesthetic learner, of the 3 learning types, I've heard the percentages are as low as 5% of the population is kinesthetic. The kinesthetic learner wants to experience. They want to go through the process. Trial and error is really good for them. Using all of the senses to understand concepts is really good for them. For the kinesthetic learner, having interaction with certain processes will go a long way with them. So a good example of this, and I'll just reveal something real quick. I'm a kinesthetic learner, and this is something that came across this last week. We were discussing inserts, cavities, and molds at my work. And certain molds were having inserts, and other cavities were going into certain molds, and blah, blah, blah. To understand the concept, I used something close by. I just grabbed this little heart-shaped paperclip holder that my daughter gave me, Nora. And I had the colored paper clips represent the inserts. I had the regular stainless steel paper clips represent the cavities, and then I had the big paper clip represent the molds. So to understand the concept, I put all of these paper clips out. As he was telling me, I was having to put the paper clips on other paper clips and walk through the process. And that made a big difference for helping me to absorb the information. So the kinesthetic learner, another thing that I do as a kinesthetic learner is I go through lessons or presentations or interviews many times before I actually give the interview or give a lesson or a presentation. I have to give it. As I give it, more ideas come to mind. I'm able to internalize the information more. And so experiencing is the most important thing for a kinesthetic learner. If you don't identify this at an early age for some of your children, they're going to have a fairly difficult time. I did in my earlier academic careers. It wasn't until I was in my mid-20s that I really understand this. And I struggled in college to understand some of the financial concepts, but right when I got into the workplace and looked at profit and loss statements and financials, I understood a lot better than those around me, which was surprising, but it's because it was relevant at that point. I understood how it related to everything else. And so for the kinesthetic learner, it has to be real, it has to be relevant, and it has to be something they experience. So the 3 learning types that you want to be aware of is the visual, auditory, and kinesthetic learning types. So when you interact with people, when you see what people are drawn to, if you see a person that always has to draw everything on the board, they're visual. Someone who always wants to discuss something, they're auditory. Someone who wants to go through the process and experience and be there on site, they're kinesthetic. I hope you have better understood yourself, better understood potentially some of the characteristics of your children and those around you in the workplace. These videos are supposed to make you a more effective individual. If you like what you've seen here, you can go to my website, justinjstorm.com, or my YouTube channel, Your Millennial Coach, and subscribe to those if you like what you see. And this is Justin J. Storm signing out, reminding you that progress feels good, so pursue it.